Right, we have come to the end of our history, and we've pretty much come to the end of our science and our poetry. So what we've decided to do is to combine all of the little slots, the slots where Mrs. Sperry teaches you, slots where Mr. Jarman teaches you, and the slot where I teach you, and we're going to do one short-ish geography unit. It's going to be 5 lessons long. It's going to take us to the end of the lockdown period. So we'll finish it before we go back to school. It's going to be called My World, and it's about the geography that's around us. Now, some of you did a geography topic about Hemel last year. This is even tighter than that. This is going to be the geography that centres around our houses, what we see out of our windows, what we see on our walks, those kind of things. So we're calling it My World, and it's the geography around me, meaning you. So, places in our world. There's a few kind of geography things that we're going to cover in this, a few geography ideas. The first one is we're going to talk about place. And as this definition here says, and I'll read it to you. This is the study of the physical and human characteristics of a place, how a place became like it is, how it's changing, how people are connected to different places, and how places can be represented in many different ways through a variety of media. It's also about how our imagination can create images, particular images of places. Now, the important language there is physical and human characteristics, and we're going to come to that in a minute when we actually start this lesson properly. The next one is space. It's a big idea, looks at how places are connected, how they influence each other, and the patterns that this creates. People's goods and information flow between places, and this also creates patterns and processes that shape the world we live in. Some of our later lessons, especially Mr. Jarman's and Mrs. Sperry's first lessons, will definitely cover a lot of that. And then scale. This is another important geographical idea. It encourages us to study the world around us in a variety of scales, from the personal, local, national, international to global. Our unit is going to look very much at the personal and the local, and then link it to the national and the international and even the global. Whereas most of the other geography we've done has gone straight to international, global. Even our local history topic started at local. We never really did personal geography. So that's going to be a change. So that's the introduction to this whole unit. What's today's lesson going to be? No, wrong direction. Oh, lost my slide. Let's pause this. Okay, to learn to name and locate key topographical features. So geographical things, we're going to see them, we're going to locate them, we're going to name them. It's our first geography lesson, basically. Okay, so paper time. Now, you need a few things for this lesson. You need a pencil, but well, first we need paper. It can be plain paper, which you can stick in your geography in your home learning book, or it can actually be straight into your home learning book. It might be easier if you have some plain paper, because you're going to be drawing and lines get in the way, but it's not the end of the world if you don't. You're going to need a pen, so I'm going to use a pen because it will show up better while I'm drawing on this. But I suggest you use a pencil, because if I make mistakes, not a lot I can do about it. I also suggest 2 different colours. I'm going to use red and green, I think. We're going to use those when we talk about human and physical in a minute. So put those to one side. What we're going to do is we're going to choose a window, particular window in our house that we like the view from. Preferably when we can see something. So generally the front of your house might be better, easier than the back of your house, and generally a bedroom window might be better than the downstairs window, purely because you've just got a better view. I've chosen an upstairs bedroom window, partly because it's a room window, partly because of the good view. Okay, but it can be the back. I don't know what you can see out your windows, but you need to see something interesting and useful. And the first thing we're going to do is do a sketch of the view from that window. And then we're going to label it. So I can't see my window from here, so I have a photograph of my iPad, which is another option you could do. You could take a photograph of the view and then sit down at the table if it's hard to kind of write at the window. Don't send me the photograph, send me your sketch. Okay, what can I see out of my window? Well, first thing that kind of dominates outside my view is a road, and the road goes off like that. It goes off that way. Okay, that's the road outside my house. There is a tree here. It has no leaves on it at the moment. Though looking out the window, you really can see that spring is on its way, which is lovely. It means when we go back to school, we can do some lovely outside lessons in the fresh spring air. Okay, I can see a tree. I can see more than just a tree though. I've got a lamppost. It's just here. It's the only lamppost I can see out of that view. I think there must be another one kind of just out of my vision there. There's grass by the side of the road there, and then there's grass that kind of goes like that, leaving a path. And then here are some houses. It's a kind of wall coming off this house here. I don't say a kind of wall, it's a wall. Now these houses here, I've never been in them, but I suspect they are in fact flats or masonettes. It's hard to tell. And they have roofs, otherwise the rain would get in. And there's a chimney, although I doubt it's ever used. There is a chimney. Like most chimneys these days, it's just used for holding TV aerial. Pipe going down there, and then there's 2, 3, 4 windows there, down like that. And this house has got windows. This house, the door's round the side, so I can't actually see it. And then there are some more houses on the other side of the road. The car here. Wobbly car, wobbly car. You get the idea. The house here. Let's try and get this angle right. That is a terrace of houses. Like that. With little porches on the front, and there's a fence there. Oh, there is to the path. And there's a bit of fence there. There's a for sale sign there. And there are various windows. It's a sketch, it's not got to be the world's most perfect piece of art. It's a geographical sketch. Now I can see a bit of their back garden there. The horizon's about there. And then what I can see is just tops of trees, almost none of which have got any leaves on them. A couple of evergreen type trees there that do still have their leaves. And I can see the odd little tree poking of these. Okay, this side of the road, there's a hedge here. My next door neighbour's wheelie bins. Obviously, I'm not cool boys like that, but I'm not going to sit for an hour intricately drawing wheelie bins. And outside, it's a little patch of grass like that where our driveways meet, and a patch of grass over there, and my neighbour stuck a couple of posts into the ground, stop people putting their cars up. Okay, that's about it. The car, onto the car just here. And there's a car parked just on the, it's actually on the pavement there. Okay, that's the first part of your job. Go through and draw all the things that you can see. Then it comes down to labelling it. So you've done your sketch. Now, I have got two coloured pens. I'm going to use this green pen for physical features. Physical. You don't need to write the colours on your work, although it might help me if you're not using green and red to know what you're talking about. And the other one is going to be human features. Now, human features are the things designed, or made, sorry, by humans. They're not natural. The physical features are the natural things that you find. This is a tricky one, because if we were being totally honest about this, none of this view, other than possibly the clouds in the sky, are actually natural. I suspect even that tree was planted, and this grass verge was probably planted. But for the sake of this lesson, I'm going to count those as physical. So what things can I see? You can see a tree, that's we're going to count as natural. And then there's grass there on the verge with clouds, and more trees here. There is remarkably little natural that I can see out of my window. You might be lucky enough to be looking out over fields or something. I'm not. Human features, well, there's loads of them. Lamppost, road, I don't know whether the hedge counts as. It's very much planted, but going by the same logic, I'll call it physical, but we're really stretching the definition of physical there. I think this one's a house. I think this one is flats. Now, path. More houses. That's a garden. I think that's the majority of the things. Now, you might be able to see more interesting things from your house, and the window you choose might help there. You might be able to see churches and places of worship if you're kind of looking near Grove Hill shops, if you're in that kind of area. Fields, roads, you might be able to see the school. for a school. Flats, industrial things, you might be able to see bus stops or phone boxes. Oh, one thing I haven't actually drawn on here, it's just here. There is one of those, I can't remember what they call them, boxes with the internet and the telephone routes through it. I can't remember what those are called. I'll have to find that one out. Yeah, there's that there. So the first piece of your work is to draw whatever you can see and label it. Okay? Might try and scan that and give you that an example. However, that's only the first part of your work. You have two pieces to this work. Second one is to go to that same window, open the window, and listen. Do not climb out of the window, lean out of the window, or do anything that is in any way dangerous. The other option is just open the front door, you'll probably hear the same thing, but you are listening. You're trying to listen for what you can hear. Now, I'm not going to go over and stand by my window to do this because you won't be able to see me. But I had a think before I started recording this. Now this is called a soundscape. What we're going to do is we're going to write down the things we can hear. The louder they are, the larger we write the word. The quieter they are, the smaller we write the word. Now, just before I started recording this, I actually had to wait for the sound to stop before I could start recording. I could hear my neighbour taking their willy bins. Why were they taking their bins in? It's a strange day. But anyway, they were taking their bins in, or moving their bins. And that was quite loud. I could hear it through the closed window. So I'm going to draw quite big bins moving. I could also hear birds, but I could not hear them very loudly. I can hear the motorway from my house. That was quite quiet because it's quite a long way by. I can hear cars driving past. That's pretty loud. I heard a man talking as he went past my window. That was quite loud. I think in the distance I heard a dog barking. Okay, now we're in the middle of lockdown. You're not going to hear as much as you would have done if it wasn't. You're unlikely to hear the ice cream man doing his rounds, or I can often hear football going on at a football ground, which is quite way away from me, but you know, it carries. At this time of day, I would normally hear children probably walking home from school, because it's about 3:15 when I'm recording this. But you don't want to hear those things. Depending on where you live, depends on what you'll hear. If you're in a quite quiet area, you might not hear much other than birds and the odd car. If you live nearer the shops, somewhere that's a bit more active, then you'll probably hear more. Okay? Now, that's your work. Soundscape and your sketch of the area. That's what I'm asking you to do. However, if you have a bit of spare time, especially the soundscape, you might want to try it at different times of the day and just to see whether it's different. Do you hear different things at 8 o'clock in the morning? Do you hear different things at 5 o'clock in the evening, when perhaps people are coming home from work? Is it different just before bed? Obviously, don't be late to bed because you're doing this, but you know, you might. This is quite a quick activity. You might want to repeat this at different times of the day. I wouldn't necessarily suggest repeating this at different times of the day because, frankly, the tree's not going anywhere, and it took a long time to do. Okay, so 2 bits of work, labelled sketch with human and physical features. soundscape. Okay, as always, any questions, let us know. Bye.